For the past few months, I've put my own money on the line to thoroughly test a tipping service that claims that they can beat the bookies. Last time I tested them for 30 days and some of you guys called me out for not using a big enough sample size. Fair enough. So this time I've gone all in for 100 days. Did I actually make money and did they beat the bookies, or was it just luck? But perhaps most importantly, did the bookies allow me to keep on winning? Because let's be real, most betting tipsters just exist to funnel money back to the bookies, especially around the Cheltenham Festival. So in this video, I'll crunch the numbers on everything, plus I'll review their performance over the whole of last year, including last year's festival. This is the ultimate test. I started by renewing my membership on day one to get access. The daily tips are shared via a private Telegram group after subscribing. Now, with notifications sent directly to my mobile, it's ideal because timing is critical when it comes to making value bets. Bookies like Bet365 and William Hill routinely slash prices once their algorithm realises that they're offering a value bet. For those who don't know what I mean here, what is value betting? Bookies don't make money by predicting the future. They make money by offering lower odds than the bet's true probability, meaning that over time, they're guaranteed to profit. The lower the odds, the bigger their margin. Now, value betting does the total opposite. By finding odds that are higher than they should actually be, we're able to mathematically lock in a profit over the longer term. The bookies hate it. So to track every bet properly, I set up a profit and loss spreadsheet logging the time, venue, and selection for each bet that they tipped. I also recorded Insider Edge Bet's recommended stake, bet type, odds in both fractional and decimal format, and the profit and loss on each bet, their running total, and the Betfair starting price, just so I could compare all the bets to the exchange's final starting value at the end of this experiment. I wanted to do this because the BSP is the most accurate pricing mechanism that we have available to us. So on October the 1st, the first tips arrived. Now with Telegram notifications on, I could easily catch the best prices because multiple sportsbooks offered them. Bet365, William Hill and Betfair are the bookies Insider Edge used the most. But if you're restricted on those, don't panic because Odds Checker showed the odds to be available at most major bookies. However, it's important to say, with a service like this, if the price drops before we can place the bet, it's important to skip it out because value betting only works if you get the odds that they recommended. This is also a common problem with a lot of tipsters because they aren't honest about prices. A couple of times I got distracted and missed the notification, so I didn't place that bet. However, every time I checked the Telegram when it came through, the odds that they'd listed were always on offer. And this was probably the most important thing to note, as a lot of tipsters out there manipulate their betting history. On social media, the worst ones post fake bet slips and delete previous tips after they've lost. Now, there's no point giving you a sample shorter than 30 days, so let's fast forward straight to the end of the month. By October 31st, I'd placed 117 bets in total, 36 had won, giving me a 31% strike rate, a little lower than the 35% result in the previous 30-day test I did. By the way, if you want to watch that, it's linked in the description down below. The overall profit for the month was a whopping 48.36 points. But it's important to look at some of those wins because a few lucky results can hide that fuller picture. Now, of those 36 winners, the 14 highlighted on the screen banked me more than 5 points profit in a single result. Between them, those 14 bets totaled 93.65 points profit, a huge chunk worth significantly more than the entire month. Now, some of this was down to the recommended points weighting for the bets in question. My very first win at Catterick, for example, being a 2-pointer. However, most of the 2-point selections for the rest of the month actually lost. What it really reveals, again, is that even the best betting tipsters can't predict the future. They're just good at repeatedly finding good value bets. So the question here is, can they keep this up over 100 days? And also, will they manage to keep it up over Cheltenham this year? During last year's festival, they tipped 23 bets. With 1 non-runner and 10 winners, their strike rate was 45.45%, banking a profit of just over 30 points. Now on the 7th of November, they landed a single point double over 2 different races that landed them a massive 19.25 points profit. I have no idea how they knew, but it seriously enhanced their bottom line profits, so let's move on to the halfway point, day 50. By this point, I'd placed another 74 bets, with 25 of them winning. The result, 37.59 points profit. It's almost too good to be true, right? Perhaps, but we'll get to that in just a moment. The 19-point double on the 7th really enhanced their running total at 85.95 points. In fact, both of the selections in that double beat the official Betfair starting price by a wide margin, so effectively, value was being multiplied by further value to create one huge value bet. Now, I should add, most of Insider Edge's picks are singles. They rarely recommend doubles or trebles, so it would seem that they really did know something that others didn't. The posts on Telegram were coming in at a good 10 to 15 minutes before a price change, so it's not like they were tracking movements elsewhere. I also noticed that Telegram posts show you if and when a post has been edited, which is reassuring but also very transparent for the service. In the second half of my test, a couple of things happened that I didn't really expect though. With some context and fuller metrics by day 100, it will make more sense. I'll also compare my final figures to theirs for the whole of last year, which is the biggest betting sample I've ever covered. It's quite an eye-opener. 25 days later, on December 14th, there was a problem. I'd placed another 97 bets with 42 of them winning. Compared to the earlier months, this was a notable increase, giving us 43% strike rate. At 66.5 points profit, the average odds had dropped quite a lot, although running total was now well clear. Overall, the total stood at 152.45 points. But this section of the test revealed the biggest issue with these tips: the bookmakers. I expected it earlier, if anything, but two of the bookies accounts I'd been using were state restricted. I've made a bunch of videos about this before, but sportsbooks don't like winners. So many so-called trusted sports betting sites and tipsters flood social media with endless tips, opinions and supposed expert insight, but you'll never see a public record of their results. Have you ever wondered why that is, or why they send you to the worst bookies? Over the long term, their numbers don't add up, and they know it. They're just another part of the system, feeding punters into the bookmakers' hands. If you consistently beat them, they limit the amount you can stake. Now, there's a lot of speculation, but there's no perfect solution to avoiding this, so as always, I had to just be a little bit more creative with the use of other accounts. After all, this monster sample was nearly finished. From day 76 to 100, things took a sudden turn for the worse. In fact, the rest of December was a bit of a stinker, losing me 12.23 points over the second half of the month. It's another example of value and variance, because nobody wins all the time. The start of January brought a small recovery, banking 16.88 points in the first 8 days. So finally, after 100 days, the full sample is complete. With a whopping 380 bets recorded, there's no question that it's big enough sample. However, to be sure, I'll crunch the numbers on the entire year straight after this full set of results. Of the 380 bets, 131 giving us a total strike rate of 34.21%. In total, across the entire period, 536.5 points were advised at recommended prices. This means that betting at the advised prices, as the tips notifications came through, to flat stakes of just £20, the service generated £3,142 profit. For clarity, that's 157.1 points in the green. Now, to put that into perspective and highlight how the bookies make their money, the industry starting price for these tips would have shown a net loss. Now, if we measure the win bets against the Betfair starting price, they generated a very small profit before commission is deducted. After commission, they're at a minor loss. So clearly, the recommended prices would comfortably be in the machine. So, is Insider Edge bets worth it? Absolutely. Acting quickly on the tips and sticking to the plan generated a solid return. The odds were genuinely available and results lined up with their long-term data. This has to be one of the only tipping services I've seen who are consistently beating the market without doing anything dodgy, and I'm happy to say that there's a 3-day free trial linked in the description down below if you want to try it for yourself. Now, as promised, I also crunched the whole of their data from 2024, and across 1,412 bets, they had a 30.31% strike rate, which is in line with my findings. I don't know how many of those prices might have slipped outside of my 100-day test, but in my experience, Just about every price was easily attainable, so I have no reason to question it. The majority of tipsters aren't legit, some are straight up scams, and others are designed to make the bookies money. Check this video out here where I expose how some of those tricks work.